Public-private partnerships. How can PPPs deliver better services? Active contract management. Planning for and dealing with change.
Hello everyone, my name is Fernando Crespo. I am an economist and I am the head of the Portuguese PPP unit since it was established in 2012. I'm going to talk about renegotiations, the main issue for today. I would like to clarify the concept and separate two types. First, we have the avoidable or unnecessary renegotiations. And on the other hand, we have the unavoidable or even necessary renegotiations. So the avoidable or unnecessary ones. These are the ones that result from unilateral decisions of the public partner, like, for instance, changes in project designs or in technical specifications. A couple of examples, practical examples. To add a new access ramp for a motorway not originally included in a contractual agreed design, because a municipality requires it, or add a new healthcare specialty to a hospital not included initially in the contract. So this results in increased costs, proportionally higher than the contractual ones. Frequently, we have to go into lengthy processes of arbitration and sometimes pure litigation. And those are a primary source of contingent liabilities. In our case, in Portugal, at this moment, we have 3.5 billion euros of contingent liabilities in terms of claims by the private partners against decisions of the public agents, and mostly against unilateral decisions of the public agents. In these cases, public partners are always in the hand of the private partners when we have to do a renegotiation of this sort, of the avoidable or unnecessary, and in clear strategic inferiority. In other words, if you want it, you will have to pay dearly for it. This is the strategy of the private sector in this kind of negotiations. So the way to avoid unavoidable or unnecessary renegotiations is, first of all, have contracts that minimize the room for unilateral decisions by the public partners. Second, given a contract in force, stick to the plan. This is a nice expression. Stick to the plan of the contract and plan ahead of project implementation and respect the contractual dispositions. So, now talking about unavoidable or even necessary renegotiations. So negotiations are necessary and even positive for the public sector in order to deal, for instance, with unexpected situations. An example, the negotiation of the Portuguese PPP motorway contracts that is going on at this moment as a result of our fiscal crisis in 2011 in order to guarantee the long-run sustainability for the sector. This is a key negotiation that is going on at this moment. A negotiation is in the interest of both the public and private parties in this case. Why for the public sector? To guarantee sustainability of the portfolio in fiscal terms, in long-run fiscal terms. Why to the interest of the private party? Because the private party understands that public sustainability in fiscal terms is also the sustainability of this motorway sector in this case. In some cases, contracts include automatic or even periodic negotiations in order to adjust some contractual terms. For instance, the Portuguese healthcare services contracts, the hospital PPPs, include dispositions for annual negotiation of the volume of services provided and unitary prices paid to the private partner for the services. So this can be considered a sort of institutional renegotiation mechanism that is included in the contract side. So, how to face and manage unavoidable or necessary renegotiations? Well, first of all, PPP contracts are complex structures, open to unexpected situations and unforeseen changes. This has to be understood, and we are talking about contracts with 25, 30 years of duration, and these kind of things just happen. The key is having the adequate contractual and institutional framework and perform the contract management duties properly. We have a set of good practices of the public sector in order to manage renegotiations, and basically can be the following. First of all, and this is not just for a good practice for renegotiating, it's a good practice for PPPs in general, have stable professional public teams for structuring managing PPPs with the adequate set of core skills, basically financial and legal skills, and the support of external advisors in specialized non-core tasks. For instance, traffic modeling, or in the case of hospitals, healthcare sector provision of a certain kind. Second, there is no such thing as a complete contract. Contracts are incomplete, but best practices exist as well. For instance, contracts must be robust and detailed in terms of the different potential scenarios during the life cycle of contracts, of projects, and provide the necessary provisions for each event. So basically avoiding the empty spaces, or avoiding a contractual empty spaces. And third, public teams in charge of negotiation must be composed by public staff that know the particular contract, preferably directly managing it, or then having teams that can contact these contract management teams, because renegotiation will happen normally during contract management phase. Fourth, negotiations must be conducted by professional technical teams without any political interference. Strategic or policy objectives can be provided, but no political intervention should occur. Negotiations must be a pure technical process. Related to that, no political deadline should be fixed, as it empowers the private side and limits the maneuver of public teams negotiating the contract. Negotiation timings must be fixed by the technical team in charge according to the contractual dispositions and the legislation. And this next one is very important. No side or parallel negotiation must be allowed. Private partners talk to the technical team appointed, and that's it. Decision makers must not be available to discuss terms with the private partners at all. It should be compulsory as well to perform an impact assessment of any contract renegotiation in terms of financial and fiscal outcome, as well as any potential change in the original risk matrix. In summary, how to deal with the unexpected and with negotiations. First, have a professional, stable public team developing and managing PPPs. Second, have good, flexible, detailed contracts. Third, stick to the plan. Fourth, avoid unnecessary negotiations, minimizing unilateral decisions by the public sector. Fifth, if negotiation is unavoidable, leave it to technical teams. And sixth, political intervention should not exist.
This has been an Open Learning Campus presentation brought to you by the World Bank Group, accelerating solutions through learning.